Good morning.
Ugh.
Someone's having a real rough time of it this morning.
I'm ready for sunshine.
Yeah, sunshine would be nice.
We needed some rain, we did, and for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe just because it finally did dry out, the rains don't, it's still muddy, but not as bad as what it was like a month ago when we were getting, but that's when we were getting rain and rain and rain. So
it was what they call the rainy season down here.
But we needed this rain for sure, and it wasn't as much as I said it would be.
No.
Big shocker, I know.
Right.
The weatherman was wrong.
And, of course, I was up at 5 this morning, and it's pretty average for me, but it was raining when I woke up. Of course, I tried to waking you up at like, I don't know, 6:30, because I thought, we can get a jump start on the day, and we can get out there by 7 and do coffee chat, and yeah, I got was just some grumblings and a bad bear waking up out of hibernation, not happy. So I just turned around and let him have his peace. But I fed him, I watered him. He seems to be doing better now.
My more human-like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's gooder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just wake up gloomy. I don't know. I'm ready to get going with the day. A little stiff. We started on the rabbit hutch yesterday.
Mm-hmm. So watch for that video coming out on the main channel. It's super cool. For those that are just catching up with us, we found Jason found a book, a homesteading book from this published date was 1977 at a thrift shop, and we paid $1.25 for it.
Something like that.
And it has been such a valuable book. It has everything in it. And as we're designing the rabbit hutch, I'm like, wait a minute. We have the book.
It's super cool in the fact that, you've got Google, you've got, Pinterest and Instagram. You got all these sources, right? YouTube, that you can go on and see how everybody built things. And most of it involves, go buy this, go buy that, modern day things, which, granted, back in 77, it wasn't, ancient times, but it's literally a raw from the land homesteading book, really, is what it is. And so, it goes as far as like the chicken hutch and the nesting boxes, and it's all made of, wood and nails and screws and kind of the older method of building it yourself instead of going to buy it, because everybody's so wrapped up on let's buy everything. There's certain things you can't just make, but
so we kind of take what we can out of it and apply what we can, and then we did change it. But what was really cool about it is it literally broke it down, cut this many at this length and this many at that length, and so it was super quick and super easy.
It's got a material list in it, which we should have paid attention to before going to buy materials.
Sometimes I forget about the book. What happened is it got put away, and it wasn't in my face all the time, because I would just used to pick it up and read.
I think it's every day we're finding. It's like Christmas or Easter every day here, because we'll move something and then we're like, oh hey, there's that.
Or something will be in storage, or I forgot we bought that.
We don't have the room for everything that we have.
Not yet.
And it's crazy because we've downsized so much to do this, and so everything that we have serves a purpose. It serves a function. We're glad we're keeping within the tiny house theme realm. Just because when you buy a big house, what happens? You gotta fill it up. And what do you fill it up with?
Junk.
Our home we had up north, we literally, with just the two of us, used half the house. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for the front door being where it was, the other half of the house would have never been visited.
No.
when kids or friends or family or somebody came over and
Well, then it was
needed a
nice, but that's
place.
kind of where the other smaller cabins are going
Right.
to come in handy.
But 90% of our time was not using the whole other half of the house, and that's kind of where we came up with, hey, this is our ideal square footage, or just having what we need.
Yeah.
And a lot of it'll be, once we get in the tiny house, we'll be able to put things where they belong in there and not moving one thing. I mean, we're in a fifth wheel. There's just so much storage. We've got quite a bit in it. Don't get me wrong, but
we've made good use of our storage space.
There's a lot of stuff in there, and then eventually transitioning to getting the shop up. I think
That'll
the
be
shop's going to be a game
changer.
changer for sure.
Because even though like Nana's Cottage and Walden are still quite a ways away in our building future, I still find little treasures where I'm like, oh, that I see that in Nana's Cottage. Or that would look so cute in Walden, or, one of the other things, or the guest cabin, we could really use that. And so I'll pick it up because it's super cheap at a thrift shop. And so we just have totes and they're not even organized totes at this point, but, being able to find all those things and organize them in the shop is going to be a game changer. And even though the tiny house isn't what we had planned for our home, it's evolving, and it's evolving our way.
All right.
It's a little crazy. We're always changing, but I'm always changing. Not always, but
yeah, always.
But we're loving the way that it's turning out.
It is.
Even though we never would have planned that particular style, I feel it was kind of meant for us. And we're still under 500 square feet. It looks
I think we're
big.
right at 500 now because we added the laundry room or something. So
Yeah,
I haven't done the math to put the actual square footage now. I know prior to, we were under 500 yet, prior to the laundry room.
It was like 483 or something.
So,
it looks bigger from the outside, but it's all kitchen, which that's our most important room. So,
and it is open. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little, I would say, if anything, it feels a little confined
in the living room
because of the loft. Like, that's the living room portion, which is the main original 12 by 12 cabin with a loft. That's what we started with, was, that shed. And so that wasn't built to like today's standard of an 8-foot wall height.
It's really shallow. And the actual usable space of the living room that's not blocked by the door is only 10 foot, not even 10 foot. So we're going to be lucky to fit we have a sofa or a love
Sleeper
seat.
sofa love seat.
Yeah. We had it in our bedroom back up north and love it. We picked it up at a thrift shop for what, $20?
Something.
It was something
It
stupid.
wasn't expensive.
And it come out of it was a thrift shop in Holland, and there's tons of money in Holland. So there's tons of thrift shops and everyone donates, and it's real rich stuff. So beautiful quality, barely used. So it's been a really great piece of furniture. So we're going to put that in there.
And that's all we really need in there.
Yeah.
That was the great part was, we don't need a living room full of furniture that's going to collect cat hair and dust and, all the stuff that you've got to clean. Like, we literally need that love seat and that's it. We spend our time in the kitchen and we're building our life. I mean, that was a major factor in us moving to Arkansas, was the availability year-round to be outside.
Yeah, we are outside
Now,
a lot.
it's not a tropical climate, which neither one of us wanted anyways, but
I kind of like tropical.
yeah, somebody is...
I got the greenhouse for that, though.
Oh.
I'm
But-
always cold.
We like the idea that even in the wintertime, and it gets cold, it snows here. I mean, look, don't get us wrong, we didn't totally avoid the snow, but we avoided the majority of it, and the constant
sub-zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being outdoors is where we want to be. I mean, and that's why a lot of our main focus has been, get the chickens up and get, now we're doing the rabbit hutch, so we'll be getting rabbits soon, and just those things, the gardening. you know, because it's all promoting the things that we're going to do outside. And we were actually talking about it yesterday, was like, well, rabbits and chickens are, as of right now, as of today of this recording, rabbits and chickens are the only things that we're going to have wintered over. Maybe a few plants in the greenhouse, but we have to figure out
space and all of that.
the space, moving things around, but keeping it warm enough in there.
We have an extra wood stove. We're trying to, in my brain, I'm always thinking of the configuration.
Like a Ware coffee.
It wouldn't be the first time.
I know.
The configuration to actually utilize that in a plastic hoop house. So, well, stay tuned for that. So we're going to work on that. And, you know, we may have a hog by fall, but I doubt it, because normally even up north, I would just get a hog in the spring and butcher it in the fall. That way I didn't winter over it. I want goats. I want them all. I want all the goods, but realistically, you know, I had meat order. Actually, the same company that sent me the chicks were supposed to send me meat birds also. I hadn't finalized that order, and after a long discussion, because I've always done meat birds, I did the Cornish crosses, and I would do 2 batches of 25. I do 25 in the spring and 25 in the fall. You want to avoid doing them in the summertime because they stink. But we just talked about it. We're so spread thin right now. Like, I've got to get on the garden. So I don't know if we're going to divide our time today and me keep planting and the guys work on the bunny hutch and me kind of bop over when I need to. We're just so spread thin. Right now, meat birds are just not in the mix. Maybe once the Rhode Island Reds are old enough to pull out of the Mini Cooper and stick them with the big girls and guys, then maybe we can use the Mini Cooper. But meat birds are stupid. They're probably not going to acclimate to the Mini Cooper very well. And we don't have a place set aside for an outside run, blah, blah, blah. I could go on and on.
Like
so.
we need a spot for them to, and kind of like with the hogs is, we need a spot we can do the whole chicken tractor method and have them on grass. And we don't even have grass. We don't have a pasture land. We don't have, you know, there are some random weeds, but if we put them on a spot we had right now, within 2-3 days, it would be gone.
It'd be mud.
And it would be nothing but mud. So once again, it's that constant reminder that Rome wasn't built in a day, and we want all these things because we want to be self-sufficient. We don't want to have to keep going to town to buy meat or, you know, vegetables and stuff like that. But we've got to do it in moderation too.
And it's hard for me because, you know, having all that up north, I have to remind myself I didn't do it all in a year or 2 years. I had that homestead for 10. So it took me a long time to get where I was, to where I remember sitting down to dinner, and that really cool feeling where every single thing on the plate I grew, hatched, butchered, all of it. Everything came from, I think the only thing on that meal that didn't come from me was the flour. And that's such a cool feeling. Like, the entire meal I grew or raised, butchered.
And within time, we're going to be there. You know, we bought land that was all woods. And so that means if we want anything to resemble pasture or grazing or anything,
we got to clear it.
We've got to clear it. We've got to do it. And so just reminding ourselves sometimes that we got to slow down. And it's hard, I think, with our mentality and what we went into, because we had other plans before we were going to buy land and do a homestead. You know, we were going to travel. And obviously, as everyone knows, you know, the
COVID.
That came along.
Biden.
And
gas prices.
Right. Like everything, just society in general, pointed us like, that's not a good plan. We need to get ourselves in.
Because we actually have, so if anyone's interested, we actually have up in Michigan still a tour bus that we had bought in 2019.
Something like
2019, I think. yeah, it wasn't 2020, it was 2019. We bought in lieu of our travel dreams. We were going to travel for several years in the motor coach. It's an Eagle, kind of like the Eagle was the standard for musical concert groups because of how nice they ride. But so we bought that, and we actually lived in it in Michigan for a year.
I was in it for like a year and a half. We were something like that. It was
So
a year and a half.
and we loved it. And we planned on traveling America in it for several years before finally finding the land and homesteading. But then COVID hit. Like I said, gas prices went through the roof. And when you're driving something that's only 8 miles per gallon at best.
I think it was averaging 10 the little bit we drove it, but it basically was driving Michigan to Ohio, and that was about it. So and like I said, it was one of those that everything that was going on in the world, really, it wasn't even just local, but everything that was going on was like, we need a piece of land.
We need some land, and we need to protect our
even if we
ourselves.
did decide, and we haven't totally wrote off doing travel, it might not be for as long a stints as what we originally planned, but we needed something as a home base that, hey, if they shut everything down again, we have a place we can go to and we're going to be fine. We can take care of ourselves and support anybody, close enough to us that, we can help support them or provide for them.
I would even tell all the kids, like, I'm going to pull up the old-fashioned MapQuest, and I'm going to print off in paper turn-by-turn directions to get to our place. Because if the world goes to shit, there will be no internet. They're going to shut it down. So how are you going to have it GPS, to get yourself here if you don't already know how the route? Just things like that. And we also love the water. Our game plan, and at the time was within 5 years, we were going to do the Great American Loop. If you're not familiar with that, that's a super cool adventure, and it takes about a year. And we were heavily shopping for that boat. We were going to sell our boat because our boat, even though it had a cabin, it was a cuddy cabin. It wasn't big enough to sustain us for a year.
Type boat.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got all these other things that we do want to do. And we spent the last 3 years traveling in the wintertime all over America. And, we got home last year early because my grandmama had passed away. And fortunately, actually, because as we were going home, that was the week the diesel decided to increase $2.
Yeah.
So every time we'd stop on the way home from Corpus Christi, it was higher and higher and higher. And I think we estimated at one time it was if we would have waited till our original departure date from the south, we would have spent, we were coming from Mountain View, weren't we? I don't know, we were coming from Shirley. We were coming from Shirley.
Shirley, yeah.
Yeah. It would have cost us over $200 more had we waited because of that jack up in diesel. So anyway, all of those reasons pushed us to go ahead and do this now.
Right. And so it's, I know we seem scatterbrained, which we are.
We are.
So welcome aboard the scatterbrain
I was so
train.
blonde yesterday. It wasn't even funny.
But it's us, sometimes we have to, it's almost like we have to overwhelm ourselves to realize, wait a minute, slow down a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And the projects aren't going anywhere, they're always going to be there.
They're still there.
And it's going to give us something to do. And we're not going anywhere. Not that we know of. Nobody's told us we're...
Well, unless I got to go back to Tennessee.
Well, right. But that's just a trip, we'll go there, be there for as long as we need to be, and then come back. But
so if y'all are praying people, say some prayers for my pops. Gonna wait on a few more tests, but send some good vibes that way. So Tennessee needs that right now.
Yeah.
But,
so I don't know. Today we may work on some stuff we don't know yet.
We have some veteran things we know
we're gonna go to town. They've
out.
got a veteran fair going in town, so we're gonna check it out, and mainly just to meet people. I'm pretty set up with the VA. I mean, it's for me, you know, I don't need a whole lot of services from them. Like, give me some medical treatment and call it good, and I move on. I appreciate that they're there, and I know probably as I get elderly, I'll be utilizing it a whole lot more. But I got time before I'm elderly, so
Not me. I'm turning 50 this year.
But it's-
50. 50.
we're gonna check out
What?
that. I know you're getting old.
I don't know how it happened. One minute I'm 25 and the next minute, yeah, I feel ya. For sure.
So we've got that, and then I think we're gonna check out the farmers market. Somebody's got like 200 and some tomato plants, and not just the tomatoes. So we have a lot of other plants too that we had looked at, and we want to make some connections down there.
Yeah.
And see, one, you know, what are the, if they're selling stuff. There is, so the local farmers market is sponsored or put on by, as far as I can tell online, we haven't been to it, the local food bank. And we do have, there's one of the thrift stores we go to that's
We go to.
they're an outreach ministry, and we talked to them a little bit already too, that if we somehow manage to be able to plant everything we have and it ends up being too much, we will donate to them.
For sure.
Just to try to help out. Like, they help out a lot of people, and so
Yeah, there's actually two that we've kind of, if I donate things, it's going to be to them. You know, you've got the battered women's shelter. They have outreach programs for women that are in situations. So that one is a great little shop, and then the Christian Outreach. So
yeah,
and they're local. I mean, we love going to Goodwill too, but money doesn't stay here. Goods don't stay here. That's a perfect business model. Pay zero for your stuff and resell it for outrageous prices. I mean, come on. Great business model. Not so good for the community. But yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that stuff today. I don't know what else there. It's supposed to be a pretty nice day, but
It doesn't look it. And
It
it's
is.
cold and I'm freezing. And
well, I wouldn't say cold. I put this sweater on, but that's just because I didn't feel like putting anything else on.
looks like Charlie crawled across your chest.
It's probably covered in cat hair. And
Charlie has just been so super needy. There's this girl on TikTok that has a needy cat, and this cat is ridiculous, and Charlie is right up there with him. I'm gonna give Charlie his own channel just because he needs the attention.
He'd probably surpass our channel.
He probably
and then I'd be
would.
mad at him.
He plays fetch, and if you're not right there throwing his paint roller, yeah, I said paint roller. That's his favorite toy he's had.
Little
for,
3-inch one.
Yeah.
It's not like a big long one. It's one of those little 3-inch.
He's had that toy since our house. We were remodeling a house up in Michigan.
Yeah,
Because he got up and he stole it off the island when I was painting. And so that paint roller is his favorite toy. But you have to throw it. He plays fetch. He brings it back. And if you don't actively pick it up immediately, he bats at you and he pushes it towards it. It's ridiculous.
He's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. So, all
All
right.
right. Yep. We're going to go up, get ourselves presentable for public.
Someone needs a shower. I need a shower. I need to shave your head.
You're
We're
not
right
going
here.
to Publix, ass.
He got booted today. Come after me. He may have to go to the boiling pot. What do we call it? Freezer camp. You're going to go to freezer camp.
Yeah.
I can't have a rooster that's going to come at
They're
me.
always so fun to let them out in the morning because you can hear them. Like this morning, normally we hear them as we walk out of the camper, and we didn't hear them. But as soon as they heard that gate latch, oh, you heard them flying, coming off the roost inside the chicken house, and then they just come barreling out of that door. And even the chicks now,
They do the same thing.
they do the same thing. Like I put their water in. We don't give them feed overnight, but they have their water in the coop, and it'll be bone dry, so you got to get that out. But yeah, they come barreling out, go find the feed, and
Yeah.
so it's super cute. So
I remember a time when we first got together where you're like, I hate chickens.
I do. I
And
don't
I'm like, chickens are awesome.
And the good thing is, I guess we had chickens when I was a kid, younger, I guess, early teens, and they just stunk. And then
They can if you're not being good stewards.
my mom, I think my aunt and my grandma all at one time worked back home at a local egg farm. And my brother and I would occasionally go with them to these huge, I mean, warehouse chicken barns.
CAFOs.
And it was the most, I can handle any kind of manure smell, but that ammonia and, it makes me want to gag now. It's the worst smell ever. So I love chicken meat. I love eggs. I love, but being able to manage that odor. And, we're doing the, I guess if you want a fancy term, deep litter method. We're just throwing the wood shavings in there and keep piling them up. And, eventually we'll pull it out as it starts to compost. But, yeah, and we get no odor. I mean, you walk inside and it just smells like shavings. And that's,
And the
I can
eggs are
handle
all
that.
clean. We had an egg that the girls are still learning how to lay. And so we find eggs randomly. There was one time Jason scared one of the chickens and she popped out an egg. So they're still learning the routine to actually go to the nesting boxes and lay in the boxes. So we'll find the random egg here and there, and it'll have poop on it because it'll come from out here or mud or whatever. And I got to wash that one and put it in the fridge. But for the most part, all of our eggs are perfectly clean,
Yeah, so.
bloom intact, good to
All
go.
right, well, we're going to go clean up, make ourselves presentable, and go to town. Them town folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll wear my new overalls. Nah, I need to wash them first. I'll figure
I need
something
to hem
out.
them. They grew. Or you got shorter.
Something happened.
Oh,
All right, we'll see you guys.